You had Thomas Jefferson, who was actually worried about the judicial branch being corrupt. He was saying that the judicial branch could be corrupt. The judicial branch, you can, do whatever you want. They can have, there's no checks when it comes to the judicial branch. So that's why the Bill of Rights was so important. There is a check to the judicial branch. So you go check out the Bill of Rights, okay? The Bill of Rights actually gives a whole host of rights and freedoms to anybody who's accused of a crime, because it is so easy to just accuse anybody of a crime. In Alabama, for about 20 to 30 years, they were accusing people of drug crimes and then planting the drugs on them. Eventually they got caught, but just goddamn, for 20 to 30 years, you've been living a fucking lie. You've been living in a county that you thought was like for justice, but they're going around literally fucking people over. What are you going to do if you live there? Are you going to stand up against the corruption and actually change the system? Or are you going to allow the fucking cheating motherfuckers, allow them to have power? So you have courts of justice are open to every person, and a speedy remedy afforded to every injury to person, property, or character, and the right and justice should be administered without sale, denial, or delay. That's Article 2, Section 6. Deborah Ehler didn't know that. Section 16, in criminal prosecutions, the accused shall have the right to appear and defend in person and by counsel, and to demand the nature and cause of the accusation, to meet the witnesses against him face to face, to have process, to compel the attendance of witnesses in his behalf in a speedy public trial by an impartial jury of the county or district in which the offense is alleged to have been committed. That's in criminal proceedings. The accused shall have a right to appear and defend in person and by counsel. Also, to understand the accusation. Also, to compel witnesses to meet him face to face. This is due process, okay? So you can accuse people of crimes. So to have process to compel the attendance of witnesses in his behalf and a speedy public trial by an impartial jury. So they can make, witnesses come up, make the witnesses come up and give, testimony, produce documents, and then a speedy public trial is also. So anybody who's accused of a crime gets all those things. They get all those things. But that's not a gift, right? That's just so you have a right to defend yourself. So rights of crime victims. Any person who is a victim of a criminal act or their estate shall have the right to be heard when relevant, informed, and present at all critical stages of the criminal justice process. All terminology, including the term critical stages, shall be defined by the General Assembly. So that's 16A, Section 16A. That means you have the criminally accused have rights, but the crime victims have rights too. So that's important because in the U.S. Constitution, they don't mention the rights of crime victims. They just mention the rights of the criminally accused. So everybody has a right to, a trial, a right to counsel, a right to, understand the accusation, to habeas corpus, to hear the nature and the cause of the accusation, and then to have the process to compel the attendance of witnesses on their behalf. Also, they don't have to testify against themselves and some other things. So that's the Fifth Amendment, right? So that's the right to due process is sacred. It shall be liberally construed. That's Section 25. It's also Amendment 5 and Amendment 14. So the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution and the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. You have Donald Trump saying he's going to fuck with the 14th Amendment. If you're born on this soil, you're born on this soil. Most Americans wouldn't even be able to pass the damn civics exam. You're going to tell me we're not going to have birthright citizenship no more? Maybe we should have a civil exam, The Americans should know their goddamn process, and they should understand democracy. And maybe we all understood the damn rules, and maybe we wouldn't have all the problems that we have. So, the right to a trial by jury is inviolate in criminal cases. For criminal cases, the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury in the court of proper jurisdiction. So Amendment 6. So you got the 6th Amendment, the 5th Amendment, the 14th Amendment. You got Section 16 of Colorado's Constitution, Section 6, Section 16A. And then you also got Section 2. So Section 2, Article 2, Section 2 of Colorado's Constitution is the right to revolution. So we could overthrow this whole fucking thing if you're not protecting our safety and our happiness. You got to protect our safetyness and our happiness. If you're not protecting our safety and our happiness, we got a right to overthrow the whole fucking thing. So, there's also natural rights. So there's natural rights. You would assume that there's due process. You can't just accuse people and then hurt them. They have to, there has to be a due process. There has to be a fucking trial. And Spalding University, they don't understand due process whatsoever. Oh, somebody accused you, so fuck you. When I accuse somebody, they don't give a shit. So it's about power. It has nothing to do with justice. It just has to do with, I know more people. I have more money. I know a lawyer. And some people think that they can get away with shit. But I think they're either deluded or maybe they can. And that's fucking bullshit. Okay, so this is actually all about Conejos County. There's going to be juice at this party. This party is going to be off the chain. That's Buster. It's hilarious, and juice is wonderful. We should have juice parties. There's going to be juice at this party. This party is going to be off the chain. So, there's medical properties for sunflowers. So I don't know why publicity wants to make sunflowers illegal. So on Conejos County, here's the results of Conejos County and Alamosa and Costilla. I already did Conejos County, right? So we already know that there was a Republican sweep. Richard Martin beat Leslie Salazar by about 400 votes. So that was the closest one out of 3,500 votes total. Steve Cordova ran a Republican light campaign. He was going to, take on Richard Nixon's war on drugs, more so than the Republicans did. He was also, Mr. Corporate Man. He was going to bring us a gym, but he lost by 1,000 votes. To Mitchell Jarvis, who didn't even call me back. So, these Republicans are individuals who don't give a fuck about other people. They just want to, they get power, they get money, and then they just circle the wagons and just tell everybody else to fuck off. And then Jacob Crowther, or Garth Crowther, beat Jacob Ortiz by 1,500 votes or so. So, there's also a Crowther that's the treasurer of Conejos County. I wonder if they're related to each other, because the thing that someone had said was, well, he is less likely to be corrupt. No, power is an aphrodisiac. As soon as either one of them got in office, they're going to be, tempted with corruption. Power, there's something about power that automatically just changes who the fuck you are. So Crowther is a treasurer. So there's a Crowther who's a sheriff, and there's a Crowther who's a treasurer of Conejos County. There's the tax lien land sales of foreclosure properties. So people that get on that stuff, you're not allowed to tell your friends. So technically speaking, Crowther, that's a treasurer, has to make sure that none of his friends or family get in on the land that, people don't pay their property taxes. Then the county takes it, and they do it through the treasurer's office. And then the sheriff is the one who takes it. So the treasurer's going to say, you didn't pay your thing, and then the sheriff is going to take it. But they can't benefit. Neither one of these Crowthers or their family or their friends can buy that land. Because you can't be corrupt when you fucking do that shit. You foreclose on someone's land to give it to your fucking buddy. That's illegal. So there is a possibility of corruption. There always is for anybody, right? But if they're related, because Crowther, they both have the last name Crowther. Seems like they would be related. Seems like a very peculiar name. So, they also turned the 2.5 sales tax down for EMS and sheriff's services. So, that's Conejos County. It's a Republican sweep. The Republican won the sheriff's office, the Republican won the commissioner's office, and then the Republican also won the coroner's office. So, it was two incumbents. Two incumbents got to retain their seat. No change happened whatsoever. The sheriff's office was a change. It's going to be a Republican. It was an interim guy. There was another guy. So, there was a kind of a mess, but it was an open seat. Okay, so Costilla County, and on the night of the election, it was reported that the vote for the new Sierra Grande School was losing by 8 votes. The day after, the paper reported that it had won. The paper sit there and made a compare and contrast that Rio Grande County, they went ahead and increased services for the sheriff's department, but not Conejos County. It's 2.5 fucking cents. So when it comes to taxes, these fucking Republicans are like, oh yeah, give it to the sheriff and the EMS. Give them all the money. Give them all of our taxes. 2.5 fucking 2.5 cents. 2.5 fucking cents is a lot. In Pueblo, they couldn't pass a tenth, of a sales tax. 1/10 of a sales tax, that's too much. Then come here, 2.5 fucking cents, and then the paper wants to sit there and be like, they're Republicans. The paper is a bunch of fucking Republicans, and they're not fair. And they report inaccurately, and they report one-sidedly. So, Sierra Grande School is losing by 8 votes, and the day after it reported that it had won. It was 469 to 432, so there's only a 37 vote difference. The new Sierra Grande School, they increased taxes for like a penny or something to build a brand new school. So that's the Sierra Grande District in Costilla County, which I think is the north part of town, not the south part of the county. And there was a 37 vote difference. So that's, they're going to get a brand new school. So Costilla County is going to get a brand new school. The Conejos County and Alamosa. What happened in Alamosa, since that's where, the paper's based out of Alamosa City, of course, there was a Republican sweep. So in Conejos County and in Alamosa County, nothing's going to be done with poverty. They're going to ignore poverty for 4 years. Michael Young beat Edward Vigil, and Michael Young and the forum pretended like poverty wasn't even an issue. Oh, poverty's not even an issue. And Michael Young wasn't for Alamosa's Pedco, so they're only giving like $6,000 to the Alamosa Pedco, which was a development fund. It's a libertarian sort of, I want to say libertarian, but it's government. So it's like the government is trying to seed individual private projects to help, but only their friends and only the rich and only no working class can. Anyways, he's not for capitalism, he's not for socialism, so he pretends like poverty isn't an issue here. Poverty? Oh, where'd you get that number from? We got 21% poverty in Alamosa County and 27% child poverty. Where'd you get that number from? The U.S. Census. Oh, well, damn. Well, what year? 2010? Oh, well, it's totally changed. No, we don't have 27 child poverty rate and 21% poverty rate no more. Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. You can act like an asshole all you fucking want. Pretend like it isn't there, but it is. So Michael Young pretended that poverty, he did say that poverty is here, but people get 2 jobs or 3 jobs. You do what it takes. And then he said that the economy was good because that there's a low unemployment rate. I would give Michael Young that credit. There's a high GDP. There's a low unemployment rate. And those are 2 good indicators of a good economy. But having massive amounts of fucking poverty, having massive amounts of homeless people, that's a shitty economy that's fucking broke, okay? That is so fucking broke. Are you kidding me? Look at all the fucking poverty. Wait, you're saying capitalism doesn't cure poverty? Why doesn't capitalism? Oh, because they need poverty. They need poor, stupid schlups to sweep the goddamn floors, huh? So, Michael Young beat Edward Vigil. There's another thing about Michael Young, too. He was laughing about the roads. So Michael Young was laughing about the roads. Oh, well, you want your damn roads paved, huh? Okay. You know, maybe I'll get you your roads paved, but you want your roads? Yeah, I want roads paved. That's the least of, I want good schools, good hospitals, good roads. Yes, I want good roads. What the fuck? So Michael Young was laughing about, paving roads. He's not a capitalist when it comes to their little capitalist program. He's not a socialist. He pretends like poverty isn't an issue here, and he's the one that won. He beat Edward Vigil. Michael Young is the incumbent. He's a Republican. He's going to join an incumbent. 3, I think they're all Republicans. So you got 3 Republicans who run the Alamosa County Council, the county commissioners. The 3 county kings are Republicans. So there's no diversity. These Republicans think just by voting for each other that they're thicker than fucking thieves. They don't give a shit about actually being fair and decent and, providing an economy for everybody. They hate the poor. They hate them. That's actually probably what binds them all together, is their hatred for the poor. Pretend that it's not there. Some lady got mad about it. I didn't mention poverty at that forum to, criticize Michael Young. He is the incumbent, so I guess it does fall upon him. But I just mentioned it because this is a fucking problem that needs to be solved. You got a big wildfire. You can say, oh, there's no wildfire here. Okay, there is a wildfire here, and it's going to destroy everybody if you don't fucking put it out. So there is a problem. We need to solve this problem. So that was disappointing to me. Edward Vigil had a long rap sheet. He did this and did that. He's been a politician for a long time. He gave a shit about poverty. He gave a shit about different issues, but then he also ran a Republican-like campaign. He didn't say poverty was the biggest issue here. He said that opium is the biggest issue here. I haven't seen any opium since I've been here, so I guess I don't get out enough. But when people tell me that that's all they give a shit about, you're just saying you want more cops to hurt people. You want the criminal justice system to keep hurting people like they've been hurting people for the last 70 years. It's not solving shit. But you're a piece of shit and you get off to watching cops hurt other people. Because you're a douchebag who don't have any fucking power, so you have to get your jollies by, living vicariously through the police department. So, what else happened? Amy McKinley beat Donna Grigo. Obviously, I wonder by how much. She was just a superior candidate, more confident, and seemed to understand herself and her job better. Donna Grigo was all over the place, and she didn't even really seem to work on her appearance. I would have at least done my hair, if I would have gone out, put on a nice suit. Sandra Hostetter beat Joseph Lucero. So it's a Republican assessor, a Republican treasurer, a Republican commissioner, one in Alamosa County. So there is a Republican sweep in both Alamosa County and Conejos County. And Sandra Hostetter was actually, more qualified. Joseph Lucero didn't even call me back. So Joseph Lucero is a Mitchell Jarvis. Joseph Lucero is a Democrat. He used to be mayor. He lost the mayor's chair. He's running for assessor. He's lost 2 elections in a row. Well, you don't even pick up your damn phone and you don't call people back. So Joseph Lucero didn't call anybody back, just like Mitchell Jarvis didn't. Unfortunately, it hurt Joseph, but it didn't hurt Mitchell. So Sandra eventually talked to me, and she was very educated, and she knew what she was talking about. And I want to ask her a whole bunch more questions because I want to learn about the assessor's office. But she got up there and showed that she was very knowledgeable. Michael Yohn, I'm sure he knows this stuff, but he just seems like, I guess he's more of a friend. A friend to his constituents. He said that government doesn't come up with the ideas, it's the citizens that come up with the ideas. So even though he's not, his philosophy or ideology doesn't push him, I think it's his citizens that push him. But if you don't have an ideology, you're just a tyrant. So I feel like you should pick one, Michael Yohn. Pick capitalism or pick socialism. Amy McKinley, she's a progressive, super progressive, calls herself a progressive. She's a logical and scientific progressive, but she's not an economic progressive. So I hope Amy McKinley gets in there. And if the banks, let's be fair. All right, fine. We'll go ahead and say we need to be neutral between the homesteaders and the banks. But if the banks are being fair, then we need to have some sort of mechanism to fuck over the banks. The banks ain't fair, then we need to fuck over the fucking banks. If the homesteaders aren't being fair, you could kick them out of their fucking home. Can you kick the banks out of their home? I think you can. So if the homesteaders not being fair, all right, then they get fucked. If the bank's not being fair, I want Amy McKinley to go after them fucking banks. If they're not being fair and you're a fair person, you don't always endorse the people with the fucking money. Well, you got a bunch of money, so we're just going to suck your dick? No, fuck that. The banks, the people with the money and the power have all the goddamn fucking privileges anyways. So the total turnout rate for Colorado was 51%, so we did actually get a democracy here overall statewide. In Alamosa and Conejos County, it was 67% turnout rate, but it's only 3,500 votes. So I guess there's only 5,000 registered voters, 8,000 total, 15,000 total in the Alamosa County. So there's 15,000 people in Alamosa County. There's 8,000 people in Conejos County, and then there's 4,000 or 5,000 in Costilla. So you have Conejos, 8,000 in Conejos, 4,000 or so in Costilla. Costilla's 45%. But Costilla County had decided most of their elections in the Democratic primary, so there wasn't many choices except for that Sierra Grande school thing. And yeah, 67%. So actually Alamosa and Conejos County, for those who were registered to vote, a lot of them came out and turned out and voted. But yeah, that's all I'll say about that. So overall, even though across the country, Jeff Sessions just resigned. So fuck the Attorney General. That piece of shit was against marijuana. So fuck Jeff Sessions. Scott Walker, he's out. Jeff Sessions is out. Scott Walker fucked over the unions in Wisconsin. So fuck Scott Walker. Fuck Jeff Sessions. Michigan legalized marijuana, making it the 10th freedom state in the nation. So we got Vermont, Oregon, Nevada, Washington, California, Colorado, Alaska, Maine, and Massachusetts. Again, there's only 10 states in the United States that believe in freedom, that believe that you have a right to your own body when it comes to marijuana, at least. Vermont, Oregon, Nevada, Washington, California, Colorado, Alaska, Maine, and Massachusetts. Now Michigan. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a socialist. She's going to the U.S. Congress. A lot of women were elected in Kentucky, the state. I saw a picture where they had a bunch of women that got elected, and then there was a bunch of women that got elected to the U.S. Congress too. So, the turnout rate, I was disgusted by it, but it's 51% now, so that means 49% didn't want it, but the slim majority of the registered voters did actually come out to vote. So, just barely, though, 2 million people voted instead of 1.7 million people, so 2 million out of 3.9. So, there was a slight majority, so it does have Democratic legitimacy. It's actually very easy to vote in Colorado. Colorado's got same-day registration. They mail out election ballots an entire month in advance straight to your house. Colorado begs its people to vote. Oregon registers you whether you want to or not. If you're here, you just get registered. So, it's a little bit more progressive there, but if somehow you didn't get a ballot mailed to your house, you could just go in and then same-day registration, vote anyways. There's literally no way you can miss out on voting in Colorado unless you avoid it intentionally. Unless you say, no, I'll never vote. No, I don't want power. I don't want political power. I don't want to say so in my government. No, So, it wasn't 59%, it was 49% that boycotted the election, but fuck, if Troy Humperdinck voted and he was the only one that voted, we all got Troy's decision for the chief executive just has to stand. Well, he did vote for that asshole. Okay. So, yeah. The U.S. House is majority Democrat again. Colorado went completely blue. The House and the Senate and the chief executive and the chief executive's cabinet are all Democrats. So Colorado is one of the greatest places to live in America, except for Alamosa County and Conejos County. The Republicans swept both of those counties. So even though they're not going to get any of the pork, they're not going to get any of the bacon, they're not going to get any of the fucking money that's coming out, they're not going to get the jobs, they're not going to get jack shit, unless they kiss the Democrats' ass. Because the Democrats run Colorado, but the Republicans run Alamosa and Conejos County. So if they are, the counties are just administrative units of the state, so these Republican counties are bitches to the Democratic state. So they're, hopefully they get no fucking projects. Hopefully they get no road projects. They get no fucking state funds. You're going to vote against us. The Republicans are thicker than thieves. And I wish, the Democrats have to think like that because that's how the fucking Republicans think. And then, so both the Republicans and the Democrats are kind of fucking thicker than thieves, and then the people pretend, well, I'm in between this and that. No, that's not even, they're all to the right. They're very right wing, pro-war, pro-corporations, pro-Wall Street. Anyways, yeah, so even though there was a Democratic sweep, there's lots of great changes. Jared Polis won, Phil Weiser, Dave Young, the entire executive cabinet of the Colorado is Democrat, the state and the House are Democratic. So lots of great, the end of gerrymandering forever, payday lending, loan, these pieces of shit, they can only, charge 36%. Slavery was prohibited. Then they did change it, or they didn't change the judicial retention elections. There was 53%, so probably not right. They did change the fucking definition for industrial hemp, which is bullshit. Why? I don't understand it. Doesn't make any goddamn sense. And there was one what the fuck when it comes to what they voted no. So Colorado said that they would not lower the state representative age from 25 to 21. To be a state representative, you have to be at least 25 years of age. But if you're old enough to fight and die, you should be old enough to run for office. In a democracy, whatever the people vote for is what the people should get. And so therefore, because, they said no to that. So lots of Democrats got elected, but they said, no, we don't want anybody under 25 ever getting into the state. If you don't think we're adults until we're 25, well, you need to raise everything up to 25. That's a bunch of old fucking people. That's a bunch of reactionary, conservative sons of bitches. So they're there. They're there. Reactionary, right-wing conservatives, they were scared. They were listening to Trump, and he, I think what Trump was doing, he wasn't doing the rallies to win the election. He was trying to stem the tide. He didn't want the midterm elections to be as bloody and, as bad it was. So he was doing a harm reduction, which is what he should do. He was, what do they call that? When you reduce the harm, you get into damage control. So he was in damage control, okay? There's going to be a fucking bloodbath, but can we at least stem the tide a little bit? So a lot of these, assholes came out and they said, no, we don't want anybody who's 21 to be our representative. We don't care if we vote for him or not. Fuck them. And that's sick. That's fucking gross. They think, well, I'm 26, so therefore I've earned the right to be a representative of the House. Shut the fuck up. Your age has nothing to do with whether or not you'd even be good at the job. If anything, if you're old, that means you've grown complacent of an unjust system. So, good thing Amendment 74 failed, so that was a good thing. The funding for public schools failed, which, I don't know, it was clunky anyways. Both of the road projects, Fix Our Damn Roads, they failed, and there's about like 30 different specific projects, so somebody worked a lot on those, and they didn't pass. And then the oil and gas industry, they weren't kicked out of Colorado. We're not going to nationalize oil and gas. So, yeah, there we are, right? Lots of good changes. It was mostly a positive day. Unfortunately, Conejos and Alamosa said we don't want to be relevant in Colorado politics, so we're just going to be a bunch of right-wing Republican assholes. And really, why can't we have both? What the fuck are you all doing? To be just so one-fucking-sided. You talk to Democrats, you talk to Republicans, they're just so one-sided fucking dumb fucking assholes. So what, you're conservative on every fucking thing. Nothing should change no matter what, huh? Everything should stay exactly the same. So then why are we changing the sheriff? If you don't believe in any kind of changes whatsoever, we changed the sheriff 3 times already. So we're going to change the sheriff again, Conejos County? That's a lot of fucking change. God damn, you voted for a Republican in there. I don't know who Robert Grule is, but if he is a Democrat, there's change. So you voted for change. You love the change. You can't stop change. You can't get more change. So yeah, nothing's going to be done with poverty in Conejos and Alamosa counties. They will fight the state of Colorado, which is sad. Costilla County has a lot of Democrats there, which are, I don't know. I hope they're progressive. If they're progressive, then that's exciting. If they're not progressive, then fuck them. I can't stand anybody who's not progressive, whether you're Republican or Democrat. You don't want to move forward, then fuck you. I'm so sick and tired of even having that conversation. Oh, you're so smart. Yeah, you're so smart. What do you think about murder? Oh, you think sometimes it's okay to murder? Wow, you're smart. You're just so smart. I'm glad I talked to you. Stupid motherfuckers. I'm going to say the opposite because I'm so smart. If you're smart, you would know how to build up relationships. You would find common ground. So... fuck you, Jeff Sessions.